Do you like conspiracies?
Only for their entertainment value?
Well, you've come to the right place.
Here we talk about the four-letter word, conspiracy.
And we also make jokes about them.
Welcome to What the Conspiracy. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to WT Conspiracy, also known as What the Conspiracy. My name is Peaswad, and I am here with my co-host, Sleepy.
Sleepy Weasel.
Yo, what's up, Sleepy?
Oh, not too much. How you doing today? It's a beautiful Sunday down here in North Georgia. Sun's shining. It's cold, though. It's like 20. I got up this morning about 27 degrees. And I think our high today got up to about 45, 46. Which down here, that's pretty chilly down here in Georgia for a day. You know, I'm used to like 50-degree weather and, stuff by, tank tops. That's pretty much what I try to wear all the time if I'm not at work is just tank tops.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wear a sweatshirt, but then I still wear shorts all year long in almost all weather. So, I mean, that's who I am. But, hello, everybody. Welcome back to What the Conspiracy, or WTC. It's interchangeable at this point because we are WTC on a whole lot of places. So if this is your first time listening to us, welcome. Today we are, I'm not going to say what we're going to talk about. I'm going to go through all the little bits before we get into that, right?
Sure.
Boom. He said sure. He's in.
I'm in. I'm always in. I'm in for whatever you want to do.
Well, in that case, we're going to rob a bank. Are you all right? We're both too lazy for that. There's no way.
I am. I just kind of want to hang out at the house and do this and play Xbox and have a beer and hang out with my kids. So
it's too much work and planning and physical prowess, which I don't have. So it's like.
I mean, why would you leave your house? All your stuff is here. All my stuff's here.
100%.
All the stuff I enjoy that I bought is here. So I don't want to go anywhere.
If anybody thinks that either one of us did or is going to rob a bank, remember what we said just now. There's no way.
Don't accuse me because I have better things to do.
Yeah, exactly. But we are WTE Conspiracy, or What the Conspiracy, where we talk about conspiracies. We talk about it like two friends who are drinking a beer, and that's about it. We're going to talk about conspiracies. Yeah. We are not professionals. We are just two guys who think it's fun to talk about conspiracies because they're entertaining. Not because we believe them, not because we're trying to sway you to get to believing them, just informing you.
And if you see some of the past episodes, we go off on some other tangents here and there. Like Pease has said, it's us sitting around talking about it, having a beer potentially, and just two buddies just kind of just talking, what I mean, with the conspiracy stuff, sprinkled in there to an extent.
Yes, exactly right. So if anybody is interested in following us anywhere, let's see. We are WT Conspiracy on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and we are WTConspiracy@gmail.com if you would like to send us an email. We also have a link tree, so linktree.com/WT Conspiracy. That will immediately take you to the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter, and to our YouTube, where we are recording this, so that way you can see our faces. And one of us has beautiful facial hair, and one of us has beautiful hair on their head.
My
wife which one's which.
My wife almost convinced me to shave my beard the other day when she was talking about it. And just people, I haven't shaved it in like 2 to 3 years, but Jesus. Clean shaven, I look identical to my son. And I also don't look 36. I look like I'm about 22.
Wow.
I literally look like a child. Look like a completely different person. Without a beard, so. See, you got a beard. Yeah, you got some,
That's a neck beard. It's terrible. My wife wants me to shave mine too every time because it's just so bad.
But we were drinking when my wife suggested it. She thought it'd be funny because after I shave my beard, then all of my kids, my wife, my friends just make fun of me until it grows back. So and usually to get it back to this, it usually takes probably 2 to 3 weeks to get it back to normal, to get it grown out a little bit.
Oh my
it doesn't grow super fast. So,
okay, it doesn't grow super fast. This is his facial hair is a full set of facial hair, a full amount of facial hair. Like it's literally a beard. Whereas mine has been probably 4 months of growth.
Oh.
And
Yeah, you can't grow a beard.
I cannot grow a beard.
You grow a beard like my brother grows a beard. Same thing. Like he can't
It's
grow a
so
beard either.
sad. Oh,
I
that's all
did
wanted.
tell my wife. I told her I would shave off the mustache and just leave this coming down, like in the
okay.
thickness up here. I told her I
Yeah.
would do that, but she was a no-go.
She likes the mustache?
Well, she just does. She likes me with a beard. If I shave off my beard, she makes fun of me until it grows back.
Oh,
You know. So
I get it. She loves Tom Selleck.
yeah,
back in the day, you know, like-
well, actually, I can send you some pictures, or maybe we can post them somewhere. But it was a few years ago that I shaved it, but I shaved it in stages. So I shaved off part of it, and I had a handlebar mustache. I had a goatee. Then it was just a mustache before it was all gone. The mustache literally made me look 45. I'm not joking. It put 10 years on me, 10, 15 years on me. It made me look so old, you know. So,
You know,
so maybe I can dig
have a
those up
picture
and toss
too.
them somewhere.
I could post a picture as well of when I had longer hair, and I ended up shaving just the top to where I still had like lengthier hair on the sides, you know, and the top looked like I was bald, so it looked like I was balding, you know, like because not everybody is graced with the ability to keep their hair at the age past 30, you know.
No.
But then again, some people are able to grow facial hair, so I mean, you take your wins and you take your losses where you can, right?
Yeah, you do. Like I have a buddy I went to high school with, literally was completely bald by the time he was 25. You know, completely bald by the time he was 25. And then like with me, like I just keep it short. Like growing up, another thing is I have very, very curly hair. So if I let it grow out, it's extremely curly. But at 36, I don't think I'd even grow it out long again. You know what I mean? But so I've had the same haircut since I was like 17. This like 2 on the top, 1 on the sides type haircut. You know, that's always what I do. It's always what I get.
Jeez.
So
You do it yourself, or you get somebody else to do it?
before the pandemic, I would have somebody else do it. But then once that hit and you had to cut your own hair, I learned to do it myself. So I literally now, for the last year and a half, I literally cut my own hair.
Wow.
I bought the stuff for it. I do the 2, and then I fade it myself. Then Brittany helps me with the back and stuff like that when I do it, and then we're good to go. So,
Dang.
you know, I'm saving $20, you know, every 2 to 3 weeks because I'm cutting my own hair. So,
It's a little bit of penny pinching, you know, like
but once I
save
figure
that money.
once you're forced to figure something out for yourself, because I didn't want my hair just get super long, then you know I figured it out. Why would I pay anybody else to do it at this point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's so easy to, especially if you're not trying to do too much with it, you know, like
No,
if you're trying to have like
it's
the long
short.
hair on the top like I have, you know, and then you're trying to make it to where it's like, you know, like shaved around the ears and then blended all the way up, and that would be that'd be ridiculous, man. Like for me to try to do that.
And then the other
but-
day, Brittany wasn't home, so I just took a 1 and just did the whole thing with it.
Yeah,
you know, just a
yeah.
1 guard, and I just did my whole entire head. I was like, whatever, I don't care. I'm 36.
I mean, for the first probably 6 years that I was, probably 5 years that I was in the military, I 100% shaved my head. Not shave, but, you know, clippers with no guard, just the whole thing. And that was about it. That was my life for the first 5.5 years I was in.
Yeah.
And then I started growing my hair out, started slicking it back and stuff, and it was like, can you do that? Like, well, yeah, you can. Look at the rules.
Yeah. Well, besides our haircuts and this other stuff we're talking about,
right?
What else has been going on with you? Like, you know, you kind of give the weekly or whatever video game check in, you know, live check in. What are you
shows,
playing?
whatever.
What are you playing? What are you doing?
I've been playing a game on my Switch called Loot Hero.
I've never heard of that one.
It's pretty much like 8D graphics, and a lot of it is like it does it automatically for you. So it's kind of cool. So you can literally play it and like watch TV and stuff. You know, it's like you don't have to put full attention, and that's the kind of games I like to play on the Switch. You know,
Yeah.
But literally, it's like if you were to take a path that's a square. So like he would go. It's not exactly a square. You know, it goes a little bit cattywampus and stuff here and there, but it goes in a circle or a square, I should say. And along the way, you fight things, and you go back to the point, and that's like one full loop. And then you're trying to gather materials to make your base bigger, and then you're fighting better stuff the further that you go along. You can add stuff to the map to make it a harder time for you, because the more that you fight, the harder things that you fight, the harder it is for you, the better stuff that you get. So you kind of got to get that balance without dying. And then I think that there's, I don't know for sure, but I think there's 5 total levels, and I'm only on level 2 right now. So it's like, I'm enjoying it.
There you go.
But other than that, I think I streamed some Halo this week. And then a different game, which is actually your fault. And now it's hook, line, and sinker, and it's been reeling me in ever since.
It's fun. It's awesome. I keep telling people, and people don't listen to me. You're one of the few people who've actually tried it, when I've suggested it.
It's what the hell is it called? Third Rock?
Deep
Rock?
Deep Rock Galactic.
Deep Rock
it's kind
Galactic.
And it's kind of a goofy kind of dwarf game. You have a base, you go on missions, collect certain supplies. You got to collect this amount of this or this amount of that. But it's
getting attacked by spiders and stuff.
Yeah, but it's a very chill game. It's a very, I wouldn't say relaxing because you still have to, you're still doing stuff. But there's not a lot of stress to it. And then plus, you collect certain things. You go back to your ship after the mission. You can take your little dude to the bar, have a beer, relax for the next mission. So it's.
And then we played soccer.
It's a fun game. And then we play soccer because there's little games you set up in the ship and stuff like that. So it's
and then
anybody who's watching, it was Peaswad. I started out I think kind of strong with my one goal at the beginning, and then Peaswad quickly realized how this works and then proceeded to crush me. So.
I think it was like 10-7 in the end, so it wasn't like crazy. Like it was close.
I mean, kind of, but I think you were kind of more. Those were maybe some mercy goals in there, maybe potentially. That's what it looked like to me. But neither here nor there. If anybody watching this, if you, it's on PC, it's on Xbox, it's on PlayStation, and I know on Xbox it's on Game Pass, PlayStation it's on PlayStation Plus, PC. I don't have any experience with PC. I'm not sure where it would be as far as like a stream, like a paid subscription service. But anyways. If you have the PlayStation Plus or the Xbox Game Pass, EA Play, whatever it's called now, it is on there, and it's only a 3 gigabyte download. I would highly suggest downloading it and at least giving it a try. It's a ton of fun. It's not a huge developer, but it's a very well supported game still after being out several years.
And if you don't have Game Pass and you do have an Xbox, then there's something wrong with you, man. Like it is ridiculously
so worth it.
Good
So
of a
worth
deal.
It. So worth it. So worth it.
Let's see. Shows. I just finished something, and I can't think of what it is. I just watched The Last Duel with Matt Damon and Adam Driver. Mm-hmm. Where they're the knights, and they're literally in a duel. Very good movie. Very interesting movie. But if anybody were to have problems with sexual assault scenes, then don't watch that movie. That's the easiest way to put it.
Ooh.
See,
I'm real
still
weird.
Good.
I'm real weird about one of my favorite TV shows is The Office, but I don't like awkward situations watching them. So my wife gets mad because we'll be watching something. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go do this. She's like, you're just leaving because something uncomfortable is happening on TV right now.
Are
you
talking
that's exactly what I'm doing.
The episode where they had the dinner party?
All of them. There's always something in an episode of The Office. I'm just like, I don't want to sit here. This is so horribly awkward. Why? But anyways, you continue on. What else do you have besides that show? I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry.
No. You're just excited. You're ready to go. Yeah. You're hyped up. As everybody should be.
Dude, it's a Sunday. I'm having a great day.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We got football on later. This and that. So
football's on right now.
It is on right now. But I'm more looking forward to the game. I think they're on 6:30. That Bills Chiefs game. Really looking forward to that one. So.
It's going to be hella good.
Disclaimer, my team that I root for in the NFL is not in the playoffs. It's tough being a Minnesota Vikings fan some years, most years, So that doesn't really work out for us. But I would like to see the Bills win though. Would like to see that. It's a deserving franchise.
It'd be crazy to have the Bills and the Bengals play each other, because it's like two teams that are just like. It's been so long for both of those teams.
Did you watch any of that Bengals game yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I watched a good portion of it.
I watched the second half when I finally turned it on, and dude, just the turnovers. Joe Burrow got sacked so many times. It was like 10 or 11. It was crazy.
But his stats were still good,
They were.
Because he was crazy good.
Well, you got to think about it. He has all those sacks, and it looks bad, but he didn't throw. He may have thrown one pick.
He threw one pick
towards the end. but I think, what was it, Tannehill threw 2 or 3, something like that, because Tannehill wasn't taking the sacks. He was throwing under pressure. So. I think he threw 3. He threw that one right at the end. So he threw at least 3.
That sealed the loss.
It did. So it kind of, Joe Burrow having all those sacks is kind of a testament to, well, he wasn't being done with the ball. He's going to eat it,
Exactly. Sometimes it's better to take the sack or throw the ball away.
It is.
There's a lot of quarterbacks don't do that.
It is. It definitely is.
Sorry, we've already done like 12 tangents.
We really have. Before we haven't even started talking about conspiracies yet. And I don't even know how long we've even been recording.
Something like 15 minutes in, yeah. So it's, people who like to skip forward, like, sorry.
You might want to, if you really want to hear the conspiracy.
If you're here for only the conspiracy.
Yeah. But why would you be? You don't want to hear us talking about this random BS that we got going on?
Randomness. I started, I'm about halfway through Shang-Chi.
I haven't even started that yet.
I haven't watched it yet. I don't know why. It's really, really good. I'm a huge Marvel guy. I love Marvel and all that stuff. So it's super good, though, because it's very different than a lot of Marvel movies. So it's all good. So what's up with you?
Same as kind of it always is. I've been playing Xbox. We've been playing a lot of Deep Rock Galactic, which is great because now I've introducing it to the group that we're in. I can typically get 2 to 3, 4. I can get 4 people to play with me pretty much every time I get on, which is great. My son really enjoys it. So if my wife won't play it, and she'll either her or him will hop on the other Xbox we have, and he'll play. One of them will play with me, which is good. And then you play all the time. Besides that, just playing Battlefield 5. We do have in the group we do have a clan scrim today on Battlefield 2042. I guess, it's, it's a 10v10, so we have enough people signed up to play for it. So so we have that going on later. So we'll just see how that goes. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I have to play 2042 today. So I don't know how good of a day today's going to be towards the end because I have to play that game.
We're kind of like biding our time and playing other games until whenever this next update comes out, 3.3, the 3.3 update, when the scoreboard comes out. And they've got a lot of stuff that they've already talked about, planned about fixing Battlefield and whatever else. So it's like, please, because there are so many people who have fallen off and will probably never come back.
Well, I mean, I'm willing to come back, but I want to see what their first season looks like, what kind of fixes they put out. Are they going to release any smaller game modes? Because right now, to be honest with you, the only game mode worth playing in that game is Rush. That's because it's like 16 versus 16. It's the only game mode worth playing. It's the only thing I'll play. But like I said, you always want to give it a chance. You don't want to abandon it completely, so you just kind of keep an eye on it. And who knows? I mean, as far as a shooter goes, it's not a horrendous shooter. It's just doesn't feel like Battlefield. Like they could have named it something else, and everyone probably would have been cool. But we've had this conversation multiple times, so we're not going to bore you with it.
And I'm sure that we'll mention this again because we are both very passionate about playing Battlefield and Battlefield games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's aggravating to us, but
it is aggravating.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes
of what we're doing today. Why maybe everybody is here instead of our 15-20 minute interlude of video games and haircuts before we got here.
No. Listen. Nothing is more important than video games and haircuts. Remember that.
Well, I would be inclined to agree. So hopefully the viewers agree as well, because it's.
Let us know in comments or to our email or anywhere else on our stuff. Is that the 2 most important things in your life too? Video games and haircuts. What are your most important things?
Well, video games and haircuts and WT conspiracies, obviously. But what we're getting into today, we've covered a few other, if you listen to the prior episodes, we've covered some of the, we're kind of starting this covering some of the more mainstream conspiracy theories. We're going to start getting into some more of the more obscure ones, going forward after this episode or two. But what we're looking at today is the folklore, conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it, urban legend of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yetis, Yowie, Chichura, whatever Russia calls it. Basically, the idea that there is a civilization of large, hairy people living living amongst us in the forests or in Siberia or in the Australian outback,
Or the Alps.
in those scenarios, in those places that we are having a very difficult time finding. Apparently, a lot of disputed video evidence, a lot of disputed in-person accounts and photographs that, when they're brought to mainstream media or brought to scientists for review, are typically debunked fairly quickly, or I wouldn't say debunked. They can't be proven because there have been historically so many hoaxes on Bigfoot or Sasquatch sightings over the years.
Yep.
It's it blows my mind because there's in the research we've done, because this is obviously a very mainstream. Everyone knows about Bigfoot. Everyone knows about Sasquatch.
God, I hope you know about Bigfoot by now.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
But during the research that I did, trying to look up a little more detail on this, the amount of times that things have been brought to the scientific community by these Bigfoot explorers or the people who really focus on this, who say, "Hey, I found one," or "Hey, I have evidence of one." I'm not joking. Every single time they bring it there, it ends up being a hoax. It's crazy, and we'll go into some of that here in a little more detail after we do some rundowns. Some specifics on some of these people who did this, but these people would come to and bring these things to news organizations and all this stuff and be like, "Hey, I have evidence of this. I have a body. I have footprints. I have hair for DNA evidence." And then when they do certain testing and stuff, and they're like, "Oh well, this isn't a body. This is a latex puppet." It's like, what are you doing? So it's things like that, but.
It's people trying to grasp onto their 15 minutes of fame, And,
it definitely is. It definitely is. You just kind of get their name out there.
And
but what is a Bigfoot though? Like, for the people, just in case they don't know, and if this is your first time ever hearing about this, what is a Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, a abominable snowman, whatever you want to call it?
Yeti, Yahweh, Chichunya,
Chichunya,
whatever they are.
I don't even know. I should have figured out how to pronounce that word. Chichuna. I don't know. I'm not here saying I'm the best word pronouncer. So
that's what I'm saying. If you went out of your way to learn how to pronounce that word, that would show so much effort, And that's not what we're about necessarily. We're the everyman's podcast, and woman and non-binary person. Right?
Yes. Yeah, that's what for everybody. We're here for everybody. That's right. You do you. You do you.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
So Bigfoot is an alleged... I'm getting this from Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an alleged bipedal ape-like creature. So it's a creature that walks on 2 feet. So if people don't know what bipedal is, layman's terms, it walks on 2 feet. It's roughly
terms, huh?
1.8 to 2.7 meters, or 6 to 9 feet tall, covered in black, brown, or dark reddish hair. Also white hair, depending on the region that it's from, because that's Yeti's white hair. Some descriptions have it being 10 to 15 feet tall, or 3 to 4.6 meters. It is more man-like than anything. And none of this has been scientifically verified.
No, it hasn't. It's going into that as well. As far as now, if you've never heard of a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot, you got a general idea of kind of what they are and this and that. So let's go into. Wait. Yeah, okay, you go ahead.
The reason why it's called Bigfoot, we wanted to mention that. It's kind of a big deal. The enormous footprints is literally the reason, because it's 24 inches long by 8 inches wide. So, if
that's
a normal
pretty Bigfoot, that's a pretty Bigfoot.
That is big, or 610 millimeters by 200 millimeters, and then there have been castings that have been done and all that, and people think that it actually came from a bear because it had 5 toes and claws. But bears' feet aren't necessarily that big. That's very big, that's ridiculous. So that's why it's called Bigfoot.
Which goes back into the thing we were talking about things being disproven. A lot of these casts of these footprints that have been brought up have been proven to be fake or this and that because of the just massive size. Something just offshoot here real quick. Something I learned in my research. A singular Bigfoot is a Bigfoot. If in the Bigfoot community and these people who follow this and research it, a group of Bigfoots are called a Bigfeet. So take that for what you will. And we can go back to whatever,
Wait,
but
what?
if you more than one Bigfoot, so hey, there's two. If there's two Bigfoots over there, you don't say there's two Bigfoots. Say hey, there's two Bigfeet over there. So that's how you would say it. Instead of you don't say hey, there's two gooses. You say hey, there's two geese. So two big feet over there, or 30 big feet, or however many you capture in your grainy picture that you shoot.
in your camera that you are doing this and shaking like a leaf while you're taking the picture. That's how it stays. So
pretty much.
Hey, speaking of taking a picture, did I tell you that we have a friend that has a picture of Bigfoot?
Oh, do we? Who has a picture of Bigfoot?
We do.
Give me a Clint. If you don't want to say their name, give me a hint.
No. I'll say just part of their name because there are many people who have this in their name. But Ewok.
Yep, I know who that is. Yep. So he has a picture of one, huh?
Ewok, 100% had conversation with him about it, and he said that he has this picture, and I said, I need you to send it to me because I want us to look at it. And he said, "Oh, it's on a hard drive that's not here."
Oh, that's convenient.
Come on, man. That's
very
what everybody
convenient.
says, Like I got 20,000 Bitcoin on a different hard drive that's not here. You know what I mean? Like that's nothing. That's nothing.
It's nothing. So.
Whatever.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So next time you talk to Ewok, you're gonna have to ask Ewok, "Hey, what's the deal with your Bigfoot picture? We're still waiting on that, buddy."
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Why would you even bring it up and just say, "Oh, I've got this," and then be like, never mind, I don't. It sounds like conjecture to me.
Yeah,
conjecture.
Yeah,
It's just pure conjecture.
Yeah. But now
It's ridiculous.
Now his name's been mentioned on our very famous and prestigious podcast for all the eights of people that are listening and or watching, right?
Prestigious, very prestigious. We can go back into some. Let's jump into a little bit of history on the Bigfoots or Big Feet, as you will. As far as historians go, they go back and they kind of look back at it, like some of these cave paintings or hieroglyphics, in even with Indian tribes in North America, where, like right here, it says, on the Tule River Indian Reservation in California, petroglyphs created by a group of I don't want to butcher this word, god dang it, Yokuts at a site called Painted Rock are alleged to depict a group of Bigfoots that this group of Indians referred to as the family, or Native Americans referred to as a family. And they were large, hairy men, and this was between 500 to 1,000 years ago. So even going back to 500,000 years ago, you can see some spots in history where people have
how many years ago?
Like 500 to 1,000 years ago. I mean, there were people 1,000 years ago, here.
I'm sorry, I heard 500,000 years ago, and I was like, yeah. No.
You're like, Sleepy's just making things up at this point.
500,000 years ago, when they were recording stuff about Bigfoot, and I'm like,
yeah, and there was some ecologists out there who, Robert Pyle is one of them, that said, if you look back at a lot of these older cultures, going back to even Mexico, the Native Americans, the United States, even stuff in Russia and Europe, there are pretty much every culture has accounts of large, Yeti or Sasquatch-like beings that they have run into that have basically caused problems in their communities or become part of their folklore.
Yep.
And it's
a lot of the things.
A lot of people are big and hairy, so it's maybe they just run to big hairy dudes.
Well, and that's the thing though, is like a lot of the stories that were told back in the day, like about mythological creatures or dragons or whatever, or like there's an old lady that'll steal your kids if they don't brush their teeth before bed. That's to get your kids to brush their teeth. Oh god, it's not like there's really that's happening. So it's like, in order to keep your kids safe and not getting dragged away from a cougar or a mountain lion or something like that, It's like if you hear something in the woods, that's probably a Sasquatch.
And you
Don't
should
go into
run.
the woods.
Yeah, run, 'cause
Run
there's
away from that
Sasquatch in there.
sound. Stay
Yeah.
away from the woods when you're by yourself. Always carry a stick or something to protect yourself. So it's like, it's cautionary tales. That's the word too. Cautionary tales to help to keep yourselves and your kids and your friends safe and all that, you know? So I don't know. I could be wrong by generalizing Bigfoot in that, but I have to burp again. Why do I always have to burp when we record?
I don't know, but we're all excited to hear it. While you're doing that, let's go into a little bit of the origin of the Bigfoot name.
Yeah.
Which the Bigfoot name hasn't been around, it's been around since the 50s, 60s. And the main reason is, and I did some research on it, there was a logging company in California owned by Jerry, Crew. And during their logging expeditions in a certain area of California, they kept running across these large footprints, like you had mentioned earlier, just massive footprints. They're like, okay, they didn't know if it was maybe a larger animal kind of stepping on its own way, this and that, but there became more reports in the area of other logging companies or crews finding these same things.
Yeah.
So they ended up doing a cast of one, and like you said, it was very large. We got 8 inches by whatever.
Yep.
But let's see here. Hold on, let me read what I put down here. They did a plaster cast of it. They actually took it to a news organization in the late 50s, and it was actually, the story jumped from this local station. It was actually run by the New York Times and Los Angeles Times in regards to this large footprint. So, and at that time, the guy who cast it and found it, the media and him started calling it, Bigfoot, because obviously it's a Bigfoot. I will throw this in here, though. Jerry Crew, the man I mentioned earlier who owned the company, and a co-worker he had named Ray, stated that their father, at the time, secretly created a large wooden outline of a foot and was going through the forest and putting these down into the ground to gain media attention for his company and, basically for media attention for his company. Like, hey, we're this logging company, X name, found this. And it was all over the media. And like I said, his family came out and said the guy it was a hoax and he made it up. But that is where the Bigfoot name came from, was from this guy back in the 50s when he started doing his stuff.
And I want to mention this, not because of anything, not because of significance to Bigfoot, the thing, the cryptid or whatever we're going to say. But it says here that in the 1830s, a Wyandotte chief was nicknamed Bigfoot due to his significant size, strength, and large feet.
Okay.
Potawatomi, that's the reason I wanted to say this, Potawatomi chief, oh my God, some chief was known as Chief Bigfoot, and Potawatomi, that was in Wisconsin. Potawatomi is actually the county that I for the most part grew up in Iowa.
Oh, really? That's cool.
That's why I wanted to say it, because I saw it on here and I was like, hey, it's kind of spelled a little different, but Pottawattamie. Get the front door open when you're going to say that, and then be a little kid and be like, all right, cool. Let's go down to the Chautauqua River in Pottawattamie County. Good luck spelling either one of those, And I'm like,
I can't
little
spell either
kid,
one of
so
those.
it's like P-O-T, oh my God, I don't know. That was my little kid voice.
You nailed it, honestly, man. It was spot on.
Oh, Jesus. Did you know that there are other names, too, in just the United States?
Well, I was going to mention, I was say, let's dive into that, as far as sightings and stuff. About 1/3 of the sightings of Sasquatch or Bigfoots are actually in the Pacific Northwest. So
yeah.
that area is apparently rampant with Bigfoots. Big feet.
I've been there
big
before.
Big feet.
I didn't see a single
feets up there.
Bigfoot or feet. I'm just
You
saying,
didn't
I've
see
been there.
any big feet? Okay, but
I
that's
did not.
where most of them are. And then I believe the second most area is the Great Lakes region around the Michigans, and that area is where the rest of them are. And then what does this say right here? Oh, this is just some numbers, and I'm not going to bore you with the numbers on each region's reported sightings. But anyway,
From the Bigfoot Field Research Organization. Is that where this is from?
Yes. That is the one. The obviously the BFRO. You know, who doesn't know about the BFRO?
French and research organization. Oh wait, Bigfoot Field
the Big Fro.
Researchers.
The BFRO. It's the BFRO. That's where it's the reputable organization. I'm sure.
The BFRO. It sounds like a meal that you could get at the Olive Garden. I'll take the BFRO, please.
AAA rating. I'm sure it's a Better Business Bureau in regards to their business practices. But anyways, in regards to the names you have, I mean, I saw that too. Like some of these names are kind of crazy. I'm just gonna pick one here out of the middle. We had mentioned Michigan. They call it the Dewey Lake Monster of Michigan, which doesn't make any sense because I mean, there's no proof Bigfoot swim. You know, maybe they can't swim.
Of. You've never seen them swim.
I haven't, but I don't think anybody's ever seen one swim. So it's agree to disagree is what we'll do on that one. So, but go ahead. Give me some of these names.
They're just assuming that it's swimming. Let's see. These are in Canada for the most part. It's called Sasquatch, widely known, often interchangeable with Bigfoot, of course. But in the United States, we're a little different because Canada is as big, if not a little bigger than us. I think. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
we're pretty close.
Well, they're bigger, but like inhabitable territory, maybe not the same.
Yeah,
it's a little chilly.
Is very
a little chilly up north, I'd say.
Yeah.
So,
skunk ape in Florida and other southeastern states. Grassman in Ohio.
The Grassman.
Fouke. What's that? Fouke
monster? Fook. The Fook monster.
And do you say Arkansas or do you say Arkansas?
I say Arkansas. I say Arkansas.
I say Arkansas too, but anybody who's from outside the United States, they're like, why the hell would you say Arkansas? It literally is Arkansas. You know, like you already have a Kansas. This is Arkansas.
Dude, the English language is 3 raccoons in a trench coat pretending to be one thing. So it's fine.
They just keep rolling around and pretending. I've got so many examples of that. Like I was thinking of the word movers the other day, and I'm like, what? You know, like, why is it not Moov? Because it looks like it says Movers, you know?
Movers.
The Movers are here. Like, no, what? No, it's spelled with double O's. And then I was thinking of other words. I'm like, this is the only one that's like this. I hate the English language. Yeah. Anyways, so the wood booger in Virginia.
Just stop there. That's a stupid name. Any other name. It's like we're playing Xbox and we see somebody with a crazy gamer tag. It's like that can't be the last one left. You could have found anything else besides calling it the wood booger. I
think of wood burgers as like those really hard boogers that you can't get out of your nose. That'd be what I would think immediately when I say the word wood booger. That's hard to say.
I don't even want to think about anything when it comes to that word. Those are two words I don't even want to put together.
Suck it, Virginia. I mean,
suck
we
it,
love
Virginia.
You, Virginia.
If you're from Virginia, just let us know if you guys actually call it that, or if you guys call 100%. It Bigfoot or Big Feet. Yeah. So,
Yep. Almost said words. The monster of Whitehall in Whitehall, New York, specifically Whitehall, New York. So if you're from Whitehall, New York, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, why do you have to have a different name?
They obviously had the first pick on naming rights for the New York version of Bigfoot.
Now all the rest of New York's like, God damn it, I don't want to call it that. Nope, we did it. We named it already.
I don't even know where Whitehall is, but let's say it's the northern region. The people in the southern region, like the goddamn Whitehall freaking Sasquatch or whatever monster
you go to Ithaca or Albany or like Buffalo, any of those like more northern cities, and they're like, "Yep, I just saw the monster of Whitehall." I'm not even in Whitehall.
I'm not even in Whitehall. It doesn't work that way.
Momo in Missouri. Oh, Momo. Hey, there's Momo.
Yeah, the only thing I saw that. The only thing I think about that Momo is that YouTube video that was going around with like that creepy little girl. You Google it, like the creepy little girl. People are freaking out about little kids watching and stuff like that. I was like, you should go do something bad. It's just
It literally was like, you should go and kill your parents. But it's like turned out that wasn't true. It wasn't doing that.
No, I don't think so. I think it was more. I don't know. I never saw a video of it.
If you don't watch your kids' YouTube stuff, you can then find some weird stuff on there. Like, very weird stuff. Like
you can. You got to keep an eye on it.
You have to get YouTube for kids, not just do YouTube plus settings. I'm just saying. I've learned that the hard way.
Kids don't have the discretion to stop clicking. Like I, as an adult, will stop clicking when I start seeing certain things. I'm just like, don't really want to go down that rocky rabbit hole.
Exactly.
Kids don't. They're like, oh, what? Click.
My 5-year-old
Just-
loves videos on like Enderman and stuff like that, like Bigfoot, and it's like, no, you're not supposed to be watching this stuff. You're going to like scar your tiny brain, or you're going to become invincible. Either way, we'll find out.
One of the two. One of the
Put a
two.
stop to that. Honey Island Swamp Monster in Louisiana.
That's a fun
You already
name.
said that one.
That's a fun name.
There it is. Excuse me. The Mogollon monster in
McGonagall?
Arizona. Mogollon, or if it's Spanish, then it's Mogollon. That's probably what it is.
Let's just go with that. That's fine.
Mogollon. And the big muddy monster in southern Illinois. Oh, the old men of the mountain in West Virginia.
Are there 5-year-olds? Are there like 5-6-year-olds are the ones making up these names? Are they the first people to see them? Is that why this is so popular? Like, where are these names coming from? This can't be adults.
And they pulled
This can't be adults.
Like they were like, okay, yep, let's pull that out of a bag. And oh, look, it's the Monster of Whitehall. Like, God damn it.
Oh, goodness.
Monster of Whitehall's my favorite by far so far.
Just because you live in Whitehall, 5-year-old, I mean, you have to name it after where you live. Be inclusive. Include everybody, So
There's also Wood Ape. Other names include Bushman, Treeman, and Wildman.
Oh, well.
there's-
Sounds all accurate. To an
So
extent.
many options. Or you could just go with Bigfoot. We got more local flavor of the United States, and then once we go outside, like we already said in the beginning, all the different ones from all the different countries too. So alleged encounters. You want to talk about that?
Let's see here. What do we got here? Alleged encounters.
And
Yeah, we
while
definitely
he's
can. Yeah, I've got it
While
right
he's
here.
looking at that, have you ever watched the TV shows? Any of the TV shows on it?
I know that there's a new one out on Hulu right now that talks
I
about
haven't
it.
watched that.
And I think it's a documentary talking about the 70s and on marijuana farmers in I don't remember the region of the United States, but how Bigfoots were coming in and killing several people on these marijuana farms.
Because Bigfoot doesn't like illegal activity.
Yeah.
Bigfoot is actually a cop.
Yeah,
Surprise.
but I think what people have said in regards to that is basically they were using a lot of immigrants to work on these farms, on these marijuana farms, and basically these where these people were coming from were very rural areas of where they immigrated from. So
Sure.
so believing this type of stuff was kind of commonplace for those regions. So it was more used as a tactic of fear to keep these people in line and not going certain places.
Yeah.
And then also the killings that were
Weird.
done
Like I
are
said
more,
earlier, right?
Yeah, are more in line with it's an illegal drug business. I mean, people kill each other in that line all the time. And that's kind of what they attribute the killings to, even though I don't think a lot of them were solved, so.
Right. And this is also, like you said, the 70s through the 90s, where it's not the same kind of cop work as there is now. It's very different how much and what they could do and couldn't do as cops than they can do now. Like with DNA and even just taking photos alone, it's very, very, very different. There has been quite a bit of those, but yeah, so you want to jump away from that, or you want to talk about alleged encounters?
I'm not too worried about alleged encounters and stuff like that. It's kind of, you're basically just talking about dates and all the boring. We don't want to bore you with dates and, all that type of stuff. I mean, that's, we're more broad picture here at WT Conspiracy, so I would like to jump to proposed explanations on why, on what it could be instead of being a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch, a Yeti. So,
Sure.
excuse me, I'm getting over having our favorite local pandemic thing. I'm getting over it, so it's taking some time. But anyways, the first one is obviously, this is a good one, bears. So a lot of the misidentification can be put towards bears, which, as Peaswad mentioned at the beginning, most Sasquatches and Bigfoots are described as being between 7 to 10 feet tall, or even taller in some points. a bear standing on his hind legs is about that height, and they're very, very hairy. And they, they don't
dark
speak
fur.
English. They have dark fur. They're grunting, making weird noises.
Yep.
And that's probably one is probably a pretty good culprit on what they probably saw. Another one they mentioned is escaped apes, which I'm not really as far behind because, I mean, how often do you have escaped, monkeys or orangutans escaping from zoos? I mean, you could explain it that way. Like if you lived in an area where it was on the news, hey, like 13 monkeys or orangutans or gorillas broke out of this zoo, and then the next day guy was like, I saw a Bigfoot. It's like, that's easily explained. You should have.
People who have illegal ownership of animals too.
That's
so
true.
I mean,
that's true.
Could be like, oh, the cops are coming. Go out the back door. They're apey, as I call you, my ape.
Yeah.
I get AP. Jesus, what a terrible name. So yeah, that could definitely be. I don't know. Kind of unlikely.
I mean, it definitely could be.
It could be. They're not that tall when they stand. They're like, I don't know. It doesn't say, but my guess is they're not that tall.
Yeah,
What do
they're
you think?
not.
Do you think it could be anything else? Like anything human?
Well, they say it could be, and there have been several instances of of people being mistaken for them over the years and actually being shot and killed, where that's actually happened. There was, I believe, it was in North Carolina. There was reports. There was a family or a group of hunters who were actually staying there on a hunting trip, and they were actually wearing fur pelts, and they were wearing them, and the local sheriff's office there, he had to release a statement saying, hey, if you see people walking around who look like they're covered in fur, this and that, do not shoot them. They're not Bigfoots. They're just local hunters that have come to the region or the area.
Jesus, that's
sad
crazy.
to happen. But I think what we've got those out of the way on what they could be. But I think what the majority are is what we'll dive into next. The majority of them are fabricated hoaxes.
Whoa.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Pareidolia. Pareidolia.
What is a pareidolia? What's a pareidolia?
Pareidolia is where you see something and you think that you see something and your brain fills in the blanks for you. So pareidolia is like if you were to look at a wall and it's like like a texturized wall, or you look at the clouds. Say you look at the clouds and you're like, oh, that cloud looks like a face. When you say that, you then can like picture it being a face. So if you're looking into the woods and you're walking and you see something move, it's pretty much a shadow. It's like the shadow of a tree that you don't see properly, but then you're going, oh,
that looks
it was
like
this tall, it was dark,
this.
it was, so it's your brain makes it up for you pretty much. By adding in context that you don't know or have.
So basically the land of make-believe to an extent. But like, I wouldn't say make-believe, but your brain actually kind of tricks you into thinking that's what it was, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's looking for specific, your brain looks for specifics, like specifics like facial features, or features on an animal where it would be like, okay, that's distinguishable because it has this feature. I know this and this and this. So if I see something similar to that, then if I could add in, so then if you're like, well, I saw this and you really did see a bear and then you didn't see it again, then it's like, oh, I saw something and I didn't see it very well and it was huge. And it's like, okay, yep. Brain filled it in.
Yeah. Well, that's that you follow that into your mind kind of playing a trick on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely that'd probably be like one of the more legitimate reasons next to bears, I would say, that we talked about is just being mistaken on what you're actually seeing. But anyways, I'm sorry I jumped ahead earlier, but we can jump back to kind of the hoaxes part of it. The majority of them are hoaxes, like I mentioned earlier on the one guy out in California, how they got their name. The guy was literally walking around in the forest with these big wooden cutouts of feet, stomping it around where these people were going, so it would be found, so it would kind of become a big deal. There were also, back in the 60s, there was a group of guys who claimed that they found a frozen Sasquatch. To a certain extent, so they were parading it all across the country, this and that. It actually made national news. Some scientists requested to view the body and take a look at it, and it turned out to be a made of latex. It was a puppet, is what this guy was parading around. But it's actually still on, the exact thing they have from the 60s is actually still on display, I believe, in a museum in Texas. So if any of you are down in Austin, Texas, and I'm not quite sure the name of the museum.
Oh, it's the Museum of the Weird in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, Museum of the Weird in Austin, Texas. If you want to go see, Sasquatch,
Fake Bigfoot?
that could potentially be made of plastic or latex, or maybe not. I haven't seen it or analyzed it myself. I mean, that's the place to go. So
science is trying to cover it up, as they say.
Oh, it definitely is. So, but between that, then let's look at some of these other ones here. Excuse me. Dude, I keep running across this same name that kept this one guy, this Rick Dyer, who in all of these, and Tom Biscardi are like the two dudes who really pushed and pushed.
Jesus, yeah, I see that.
Who really pushed this theory back in the 50s and 60s. This one guy, dude, he said he claimed he had one, and he'd been tracking one, and that he caught one. But then, and he was going to do a pay-per-view type thing people to come see it. But it turned out, he said, well, we don't have one. And this lady lied to me. And then he started yelling at the people on the radio, so how gullible they were. And then the same guy in a couple years later claimed to have found a dead Bigfoot. And, and they were going to take it again on parade throughout places. And then the scientific organization, I don't remember what it was, but the guy's, hold on, let me see if I can find it, the guy's exact name.
Rick Dyer?
No, I'm looking for where they sent it.
Oh,
they it just said contents, because it was in a block of ice as well, and they sent it to these scientists for review, I guess you say, to prove their findings. Dude, they literally sent it to these people, and they unthawed it, and it was again a latex puppet in blocked in ice. So yeah, you guys can start seeing why there's really, when people bring this to light, that, hey, we saw a Bigfoot. Well, there's no credibility. Half of the people who have ever brought these things to the scientific community or organizations, they turn out to be 100% fake.
that's what I'm saying, man. Like, it's bad. Like, and
Could
if
you
think
imagine?
about it too.
Could you imagine being 100% wrong and making it up and be like, I'm just going to send you this anyways, and they're going to disprove me in like a day. But I'll send it to you regardless. I'm not even going to lie.
Bigfoot, like, God. I already know that it's made out of foam and latex or whatever the hell. Oh, to think about this too. What if you were the person who finds a real Bigfoot? Like a real one, like we'll say,
no one's going to believe you. It's never going to happen for you.
You could have a phenomenal video. Like you could even stand and take a picture with it, and it would be like, nope, that's the Jack Link Sasquatch, that's not, that's,
right.
that's the thing from commercials. That's not the real thing. That's fake. You'd be the one guy who's like, no, that's really it. He's a super nice guy. He speaks English and everything, or whatever.
Well, do you want to go ahead, since we've kind of covered the hoaxes, we've covered what Bigfoots are, we've covered Bigfeets are, covered all that. Do you want to jump into the kind of the facts to disprove Bigfoot, or would you like to hop into some of these, at least a couple of these very interesting Bigfoot theories that I have here? Not super mainstream theories; these are kind of out there that I was looking at and found.
Oh God!
But before we go into the disproving part of this, do you want to hop into at least a couple of these?
Yeah. I have one while you find one too.
Okay.
I don't know if this is going to be one of yours.
Okay, you go right ahead. Give me one.
Bigfoot is actually a fourth dimensional creature.
I did find that one. And the thinking behind that one is when most people see Bigfoots or Bigfeet, Sasquatch, whatever you want to talk about it, it's typically at night. There's not a lot of lights overhead, and they report seeing a lot of flashing lights. In addition to that, a lot of times these Bigfoot tracks just kind of go and then they stop, which means that these are obviously to the common man teleporting back and forth in dimensions to where they want to go.
Exactly, because if you're fourth dimensional, you're moving from the fourth dimension, and you're pretty much going through a portal into the third dimension, and taking a couple steps, grabbing a tree leaf, eating it. I'm gonna pop back out now. Zoop, and then he goes out, and that's why you only see 7 footsteps, and you only see it for a couple of seconds because he's just popping in and popping right back out.
Okay, and let me throw you another one here real quick. Okay,
I'm ready.
Okay, A DNA test in the 80s proved that Bigfoot is part human hybrid and deserves U.S. citizenship. So there was a DNA test done, and part of the DNA sample that was tested to this person who requested this. Let me see if I can actually get a name.
Okay.
It doesn't give me her actual name.
Weird.
The lady who did this. But since the DNA test came back part human, part something that couldn't be identified, she said, well, that's obviously Sasquatch DNA, can't be identified. But since it's part human, it requires that we give them American citizenship and all the rights afforded to us, therefore. What do you think about that? So do you think that Sasquatches and Bigfoots deserve American citizenship?
The question is do they want it? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true. Do you really want to?
I feel like the Bigfoot
Do you really want
wants it.
Do you really want to be? I feel, yeah, you're right. If they wanted to be in the rat race with us, they'd probably already be here, right? They already just came out of the woods in droves, being like, hey, capitalism.
Remember? Yeah, America. We got our flags and stuff. Like, we want to be citizens. Like, they wouldn't
rent sure is expensive right now. Crazy.
The people are holding us back, us big feet. We can't get a job or anything. It's like, no, they're trying to stay away. So, no, you don't need citizenship. That's crazy.
No, you don't have to have that. Okay, here's another one. We're going to go over every son because I've got like 20 of these. We'll just pick a handful of these.
Yeah. I would love to go over all of them, but we don't have enough time for that.
Oh God, I don't even know if I want to mention this one.
Oh my God!
Because this one right here, I'm going to mention before I mention it, and I'll give you the explanation. This person claimed this without any type of provocation, any type of proof. They just kind of looked at this person. 10% of Sasquatches could potentially be gay or homosexual.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure.
In any culture, she looked at this person in question looked at statistics for our populations and then applied them to the potential Sasquatch population and said, well, yeah, if there's 10% of us that are, homosexual, it would make sense that they are. I will mention this though.
Is it the same for the animal kingdom too? I would think that the animal kingdom also would have to be put into like what percentage of the animal kingdom is potentially homosexual.
For the people listening, there is a name associated with this. Her name is Lauren Coleman, and she's a cryptozoologist, which cryptozoologists deal with cryptids, which are these potential fake beings, and Sasquatches, dragons, giant birds, all these weird things that you hear from in folklore. But she was immediately condemned on social media in the news for even suggesting that without proof that somebody,
not my Sasquatch. Ain't
not
gay.
my Sasquatch. My Sasquatch wouldn't do that.
Not my mountain man of Whitehall or whatever it is.
The killer of Whitehall. Let's see if I got one right here.
Jesus.
Let's see.
Did you know that the way that do you know how to become a cryptozoologist?
I don't. I figure I just get on the internet and start typing whatever I want. Is that how that works? No?
Pretty much, yeah. You don't have to have a degree or anything, of course, because it's all made up stuff anyways. The idea is that you become a cryptozoologist by having a very large amount of information about something. So we could pretty much be considered cryptozoologists of Bigfoot after this podcast.
Well, I don't know if I mentioned this on, I did do a book. I did have to turn in a paper when I was in high school about the Lewis and Clark expedition. Okay. I literally just started typing and just words, and I got a B without any research. So I really think being a cryptozoologist is well within my grasp as far as that goes.
Did I ever tell you about the time that I had to do a report on Abraham Lincoln?
Oh God, I shouldn't have said that. They're gonna pull my high school diploma.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to say this out loud.
I only got a B. It's fine. It's just like it didn't affect that much.
Okay,
anyways, go ahead.
Do you want me to say it? What happened?
With what? Abraham Lincoln?
Abraham Lincoln, yeah.
Well, obviously.
I hate Abraham Lincoln.
Why do you hate Abraham Lincoln?
we in high school.
Go ahead.
In high school, we had to do a report on a famous person, and the idea was the report was about. It was a paper that was like 4 or 5 pages. It was a PowerPoint presentation that you had to do over the person also. And then there was something else too. Like there was like 3 things that you had to do with it. So it was literally like a lot. And so we had like 3 or 4 weeks that we were just like allowed to do this stuff to get it all done. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm lazy. So what I did was
Same, bro. Same.
I went to, I don't remember what the search engine was back then. Ask Jeeves or something like
Jeeves.
that. Yeah.
Little,
Ask AJ.
little butler guy.
Yeah. I went to him and I was like, Abraham Lincoln. And then it brought me to which are now pretty much a no-go, but Angel Fire website or, God, what's the other name? It's something along those lines. Angel Fire. Angel Fire was like, you can go to angelfire.com and make up your own website for pretty much for free. And you can put whatever you want on there. So this is back in the day when things weren't like, filtered anywhere near as much as what they are now.
Right.
I went to one website, copied and pasted all the information, threw it into the report, threw it into the slideshow, and was done in one day with something that took 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever it was for everybody else. And then, for my sites, I actually went to other websites and copied and pasted those. So the one I copied from, I did not use as my cited material. So I'm killing it. Cool.
Just crushing the game.
Yep. Did it. One day I was done, and then I sat there and played
Very nice.
whatever games on the computer the rest of the time. So then I had to give the report, and I've been always good at public speaking, so I didn't study it or care or anything. And then I go in, and I put it up on the screen, and I hand in my paper, and I do this report. And next thing you know is the teacher's like, I say Abraham Lincoln was born this year. He died this year. He got his nickname, a Honest Abe, because he beat up 2 bullies. And that's how he got his nickname. As Honest Abe.
Nice.
And, it's knowledge that everybody knows, of course.
Honest
Abe.
Well, you could, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie here. That could be true. I don't really know.
I don't.
I'm
know
laughing
either.
because it doesn't sound real. But
No, not at all.
I don't know.
Not at all.
I don't really know a lot about Abraham Lincoln.
I don't know how he got its nickname, Honest Abe, like for real. But to me and my friends, that's how he got it. And the teacher I get done, and the teacher goes, "Hey, Peasley, that was one of the worst things that I've ever heard in my life. None of that was correct. Where did you get any of this information from? Because everything in it was wrong. The dates, the years, all of it was completely wrong." And he's like, "I'm going to give you a D because you at least tried." And I was like,
Great.
So from then on out, I hate you, Abraham Lincoln. You are dead to me.
Yeah. I got a story kind of in that vein.
Let's go.
Like wrong information. I had a buddy when I was in like 7th grade and stuff like that. Like, because I was back then, before I got into high school, I was always really good at doing my schoolwork, stuff like that. But we had this one history class with Mr. Wood. And every day when you had it, you had to present, you pick people out, it was your day to present a current event or fact that's going on.
Oh,
so
right.
when it was ever my turn, I'd always have one. But I remember at lunch one day, my buddy would never do it. So he'd always ask for one. He'd be like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, what's something big that happened?" So one day he asked me that, and just like, because I was irritated, I don't know what it was. I'm like 16, 15, whatever it was. I'm just like, there was a flood in Kansas City. And he's like, "Okay, great." So we went into class, he sat down, and he had to stand up. He said, "Nick," or now everyone knows his name. He said, "Stand up, like, what's your current event?" And he literally stood up and said, "There was a flood in Kansas City." That's all he got out before 3 other kids in our class were like, "What? This is August or September, and there's no rain. And what's that, dude?" And he looked over at me, and I just started laughing my ass off and buried my head in my desk. And then everybody laughed at him. And then shortly after that, we weren't friends anymore.
Weird, right?
Because the guy can't take a joke. Hey, kids, if you're listening, do your own homework, or you might look like a jackass.
Do your own homework.
Just like that guy did.
Don't do like Greg, as we called him earlier.
Yeah. Don't rely on Sleepy to give you events, because I will lie to you because I don't want to do it. You'll look like a jackass in front of your class. But anyways, that's my story on misinformation.
You're making it sound like we're not telling them the truth about stuff. I don't know if we are telling them the truth. We're just telling them stuff, right? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We went on to a tangent, and this may be a little longer of an episode than normal, but
I was just looking at the time. Yeah, this is pretty long.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's cool.
Yeah.
So if you got the other stuff that you wanted to talk about.
Well, I was going to talk about, now we can go to like the scientific view on the reasons the reasons why Sasquatches and Bigfoots aren't really among us. One of the biggest reasons that they cite, we can go into the smaller ones, but the biggest ones that scientists cite is like, okay, so there have been thousands of these reported sightings of Bigfeets or Bigfoots or Yetis or whatever throughout the years. In order for a population to maintain status, like, you know, as far as not even like, you know, humans, but like wolves or you know, rabbits, anything, there has to be a large scale breeding population that's diverse and widely spread out.
Right.
And if it were to be diverse or widely spread out, it would be easy to come across. And up to this point, over 100 years, or especially the 50s, when this really became mainstream, over 70 years or so, not once have we found a town or a village of mud huts filled with Sasquatches.
Well,
so that's kind of the biggest one.
Sasquatch is going to the center of the earth through caves, and that's where their house is. You know,
they definitely could be. But
probably
then
not,
also in regards to that, unless they have like a large scale like food supply chain that they have access to. I'm not talking about grocery stores, this and that, but if you're just a group of people living outside, you've got to be able to farm. You've got to be able to hunt wildlife, and you know, doing those things requires movement. It's pretty difficult. It's pretty difficult to stay hidden if you're having to go out and hunt for deer with your bare hands or rocks or whatever a Sasquatch preferred hunting method is. I've never met one, or have I?
My guess is not.
I haven't. Oh, goodness. Okay. So we got those right there. What is this right here? Here's some facts. If Bigfoot existed, so would consistent reports of uniform vocalizations, is what they say. So a lot of the people who say they hear Bigfoots, it's a lot of grunting and sounds that don't sound human or this and that.
Right. Trees breaking, knocking.
Right. But if Bigfoots did exist, over the course of 100 years or 70 years, whatever it is they've been looking into it, there would be some form with all these cameras and microphones they put out there, something uniform that sounds the same each time, or at least close to being the same if they're actually communicating. Because, you know, there could be a grunt that means, hey, there's a camera guy over there, look out, don't get seen, but you would hear it at least more than once across some type of recording device, you know, somewhere.
I would think that Bigfoot would sound like...
Is that what he sounds like?
Like Chewbacca, you know?
Chewbacca. That was terrible. I didn't do it at all. That was a little better.
We're trying to vocalize. We're starting a barbershop quartet. There's only two of us. We kind of need a couple more people. Let us know if you'd like to join.
That would be. That'd be the next thing we do.
Yeah.
You know. Another thing that they had mentioned is as far as tracks. You know, because they've been those, like we talked about, the big wooden tracks or people faking the castings of the feet.
Yep.
But like, someone who's an expert in wildlife can go out into the wilderness pretty much anywhere. Like, let's say there are wolves present. They can find wolf tracks like that and be able to find kind of where they're going. They can find rabbit tracks, squirrel tracks, all these traces of these animals. So basically, if Bigfoots existed or Sasquatches existed, they could go out there and be like, okay, well, here's some signs of this, even if they aren't as pronounced as what people have faked. Like, okay, well, here's this, and you see them all over. You can track them. But to the point where they've never found anything like that, you know, lends to the fact that they aren't there.
If you think about the track thing, when it snows, and if you go outside and look at like rabbit tracks or cat tracks or whatever in the snow, if you look, like, even being somebody who doesn't hunt, you know, like, if you look at these tracks, you could tell what direction they're moving. So, I mean, even untrained-eyed people can look at a track. And if it's a thing that is gigantic in size, it's going to be that much easier to see.
Oh, absolutely, because it's got massive... It's not like it's a rabbit. I mean, you're talking something bigger than a bear, bigger than a moose, or, you know, sizable to a bear. Like, you know, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No.
One of the other points they make is, at this point, testing stuff over and over again, I mean, that coming up with unidentified DNA... versus being able to name something is slightly different, Because usually you can at least, it's identified as DNA. But a lot of the tests that have been done on people who claim that they have certain types of animal DNA, it comes up inconclusive because there's not actually DNA in it because it's fabricated materials like plastics and BS.
Or it's bear hair, like.
Well, it's bear hair.
Yeah.
Bear hair. That's rhymes. Bear hair. That's fun. It's fun.
Bear booty hair. It is.
Ew.
Whatever.
Bear booty hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody, you know what I mean? Whatever. We're inclusive here. Bear booty hair. That's fine. If you got bear booty hair, we're glad you're here. Oh, goodness. So, beyond that, let me just see here if there's anything else we want to touch on before we close this down. In 2019, the FBI declassified an analysis they did on some alleged Bigfoot hairs in 1976.
Yeah.
Somebody sent them a skin sample with about 15 to 20 hairs on it to test it. Mm-hmm. They did test it, and it turned out that, I don't know why this was classified from the 70s, and they released it in 2018. It turned out to be deer. So somebody found part of a deer skin and sent it to him. It was like, this is a Bigfoot. This is a deer, dude. Like, calm down.
That's the type of thing that makes you go, like, they are hiding something at the FBI. That's the type of stuff that makes you think that they're hiding stuff. And I'm not trying to put on a tinfoil hat, which that's kind of what we are supposed to do here. But if you have something that you have known since 1977 is not a Bigfoot, why are you keeping it until 2019? It makes it seem like, oh, God, Freedom of Information Act, they asked for it. Release this. It's deer hair. That's fine. Nope, we can't let them know it's actually something that they don't know about. It makes it feel like they're hiding it. Like that's so weird.
And then one thing that we can, you've seen that famous video of of Bigfoot, right? The one from the 1960s, Patterson Gimlin, I believe, who's Gimlin,
yep.
Gimlin,
yeah,
something like that. But that's like the most famous video. It's about a minute long. It shows the guy walking, this and that. And as far as that video goes, that's obviously been disproven. They say it's not real. It's too grainy, this and that. It looks like a dude walking around in a suit. It's very difficult. But I mean, there's no detail to it, so it's very difficult to see.
But I mean, it was a good camera for back then. Like
back in the day. It was
a good camera back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
67? Like, damn.
Yeah. I'll give them
tried.
that. I mean, they tried.
But I mean, and you think about nowadays, like it goes with anything that we'll probably talk about that's like cryptids and whatever else and whatever unknown stuff. Look at nowadays. The phone. My phone is right here.
Yeah.
Here it is. I can literally can swipe one time. Oh my God, I say that and I am not able to do it. I can press this button and then I can take a picture. There I am. Like I can take a picture and it's that quick. So now would be the best time to take a picture or a video of something to be like
of a Bigfoot.
Look, there's a Bigfoot.
Just go out into the woods. Go out in the woods and go look for him. There's no reason.
Nope. Don't do that.
There's no reason
you'll actually kill you in the woods, so don't do that.
There's no reason to bring a disposable camera that you're doing this with while you're trying to take the picture of him, and you can't see anything.
Bigfoot.
So
take a picture.
So
I'm doing backflips while taking this picture. Oh my God. So are you ready to put a bow on it?
I have already put a bow on it. And as far as here on What's Conspiracy, the last few episodes, we've always said, is this disproven or real? Now, I really feel that based upon everything...
Time out. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you. Time out.
You go ahead.
There is one thing that we didn't talk about throughout this whole thing.
What would you like to talk about?
The fact that there have been things that have been thought of in the past that were either not real or that they were misunderstood. And then they come to find out later that it is a real thing.
Such as? Like, what do you got?
Okay. Have you heard of, like, there were always tales of people who were very short and blah, 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 and this and that. And, like the idea of like dwarves being like a separate, subsect of species of humans. There were actually a group of people called the Hobbit people. And
I'm guessing
these are like,
they were short.
Because, they were super short. Like, they were all like 3 foot tall or something like that. Like, the adults all of them were like 3 foot tall. So, and then with that being said, like, it's a whole bunch of like, oh God, I'm trying to think of what else. The giant squid was another one of them. Like, oh, that's not real. That's not real. And
Oh,
then
those
back
are
in the
real.
day, like gorillas, there are certain types of fish. I'm scrolling through very quickly. There's a thing called a thylacine, which is in Tasmania, where it kind of looks like a dog that has tiger stripes. So it's very unusual. So there are like a lot of things out there that were like thought to be like, oh, that's crazy. And then in the end, it's like, oh, that is real. And they're
Yeah.
still alive. Like snow
Yeah.
leopards were another thing. They were like, because they hadn't seen them in years because they never get seen. So they're probably all dead. And it's like, no, snow leopards are still alive right now, you know? So it's like, does that,
That's, I mean, it could correlate. You know what I mean? I mean, they could be. I mean, that's what I was going to kind of get into at the end there is,
yeah.
do I think that there's a mass civilization of Sasquatches living in the United States? Maybe not. But at the same time, do I think that there's large, hairy, naked dudes maybe roaming the woods when people are in there sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
There
People
could
are
be.
weird as hell. You know, there could be very weird people running around.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's usually, like I said, at WT Conspiracy, we like to say at the end we have completely debunked this one. Can you feel we can debunk this one? Like
Not
to an
at all.
extent, like could there possibly be one or two like large Neanderthal mountain dude covered in hair, naked as a jaybird, running around the Pacific Northwest? I mean,
Yeah.
there definitely could be. You know,
there
so
could be.
so as far as that goes, I can't 100% say that somebody didn't see something that looked like that running around the woods.
Yeah.
You know?
My old roommate used to love just being in the woods at all times, no matter what, you know? So it's like people love the outdoors so much that they would literally just live in it in seclusion, you know? Like
Right.
there are like, I don't know, like what's the word? I almost said rabid. That's not it. Feral. There
Feral,
are
yeah,
literally,
feral people.
Feral people. Like
There
that's
are.
not a joke. That's a real thing.
I mean, there are people who live, in areas like Alaska is a better example because you get people
Yeah.
who go out and live off the land. They're on their own, this and that. But to say that there aren't some people probably in the southeast, northwest, Virginia who are basically just kind of, they call them mountain men or mountain people, just kind of just hanging out, doing their own thing, living their own lives, don't want to be a part of society.
They're
You
out,
know?
like collecting some tree bark or something or some trees and stuff for
Yeah.
some kindling or whatever, and then next thing you
So-
know is there's a person.
So like you
picture of
said
me.
with you, like you
I'm blurry.
mentioned earlier, with some of the reasons people see that. I mean, I don't remember what you called it, but basically your mind
Pareidolia.
tricking you. Yeah, your mind telling you that that's what you saw when that's not really what you saw.
Right.
That could actually 100% be true in this case. You know,
Yeah.
so the fact that they've never been able to bring DNA from any other type of subspecies to prove it, you know, is concerning. This and that. Do I believe that maybe there's Sasquatches out there? No, I don't. But do I believe that there are people running around the woods who don't want to be part of society and don't want to be seen and are being seen randomly by some people? Yeah, but it's probably isolated. There's probably more hoaxes than anything.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the number of reports in the Pacific Northwest, it's like 3,000. You got 2,000 or so in Michigan. You got a couple thousand in the Pennsylvania or Virginia areas. I mean, there's not that many people running around the woods like not wanting to be part of society. You know,
Right.
So
right. It's probably
majority-
like the same like one or two people that are doing it, you know, and it's like in those
like,
specific
"Ha-ha!"
areas, like
I'm
you know,
here.
you got two dudes that are just really tall and hairy
Yeah.
that live in like the top of the hill over there, and people
just-
are like, ah.
And just love traveling and hiking. You know,
Yeah.
just really love getting around to see the people.
They're wearing like a loincloth, you know. They're not actually naked. They're modest. They're not disgusting. They
Yeah.
got a lot of hair.
Yeah. But as far as that goes, do you have anything else to add in regards to this little folklore, conspiracy, whatever else we threw out here in regards to this today?
No, I don't. Do
No?
you have any
Nothing else?
suggestions right now or ideas for the next episode so we can give them a teaser? Because we didn't talk about that ahead of time, so
We didn't. I don't really have anything I'm thinking about at the moment.
okay. I got the thing pulled up here.
What do you got? What do you got? What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
What about? What about we do yours? Your favorite one?
Are we talking about birds? You're talking about birds? No? We talk about how birds aren't real? I've never held a bird.
Birds aren't real.
Dude, I would love to touch on that subject of birds aren't real. Little bit of a teaser here. You say they aren't real, and you know, they charge by sitting on the power lines. You know that, Peaswad, don't you?
Don't give it all away.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, just a teaser. You know,
just a teaser.
Part of what we'll talk about.
I have no idea about this one, so you're gonna have to take the reins for sure on this one.
Oh, I will, because I've already looked into this multiple times before we even had the idea of starting this whole thing. So, pretty well versed on this subject. But
oh, God, I can't wait.
But anyways,
so episode 6 is birds aren't real. So please join us next time. Don't forget, we are at WT Conspiracy on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, WTconspiracy@gmail.com. We are also on video. If you type in linktree.com/WTconspiracy, you will find links to all of our stuff here. Plus, don't forget that if you were listening to us on a podcasting platform, please give us the most amount of stars possible, because that's going to help us out. Tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your brother, your sister, your uncle, your nephew, who tell everybody. You know, we try not to curse you.
If you have an estranged aunt,
yeah,
let her know.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, tell your estranged aunt. You know, but don't tell your estranged uncle, the one that's in jail. Don't talk to that one. You know,
begin the healing process over WT Conspiracy. We're bringing families together here.
So. Bring them in, families. So, hopefully we did a good job for you guys, but if not, this is you. Tagline.
Oh, maybe we'll get it right next. Dude, I'm never gonna remember this. Maybe we'll get it right next time. See, we always do this. We even went over this before we started. Hey, you better remember the tagline at the end. I was like, "Will do," and I forgot it again.
Okay, you say what I said then.
What did I don't remember.
If we didn't do a good job.
Okay, if we didn't do a good job.
Maybe we will next time.
Yeah, see, that's so easy to remember, and I'm such an idiot. Like, I can't remember that. But anyways.
All right, birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Catch you later.